And you're back with us in Japan, where we've just seen Mika Häkkinen finishing behind Michael Schumacher. So the German is on pole for the Japanese Grand Prix tomorrow. Okay, Tony, now, I mean, not altogether disastrous for Mika Häkkinen. If it finishes that way tomorrow, it'll do nicely for him. He'll be world champion.
He'd be very, very happy with that indeed. The whole critical thing for Ferrari in this was getting towards the front. And when Irvine was lurking down in 7th or 8th position, as he was for a while, that was desperate. And you could see when the pictures flashed back to Luca Di Montezemolo, Ferrari president, he was getting very edgy about that. It doesn't matter what Schumacher does out in front, he can win the race, but it needs Irvine up there to keep Häkkinen down in 3rd place. It really requires a Ferrari 1-2. So, I mean, that's the bare bones of the thing.
Yeah, it just shows, though, how much work everyone at Ferrari has done in the last 5 weeks, because, I mean, Schumacher was a different class. They were a league away. Certainly Schumacher and the McLarens were a different class to anybody else out there.
I have to say this to you, Jim. If it wasn't for Ferrari and Michael Schumacher, you know, McLaren wouldn't have been on the ropes the way they are. And McLaren came off the ropes in Luxembourg. They came out punching hard, and they did a brilliant job to get themselves back into this championship race. But otherwise, it's going to be a tantalising race.
Okay, let's go down to the press conference. It's just started, I think.
We could work the car quite nicely, so obviously all the work we have put in, all the effort we have put in over the last recent weeks comes now to pay out, and quite glad for the team, for everyone, that we have made these improvements. Otherwise we wouldn't be sitting in the middle now here. But obviously today is only qualifying. Tomorrow is the race. Tomorrow is coming the important bit, so for me there's no reason to be too much excited. Just concentrate on tomorrow.
But you didn't exactly have a dream morning today with mechanical problems that kept you in the pit garage rather than out on the track. How much do you think that cost you?
Obviously not too much, as you saw. I mean, we had a good setup right from the morning on, and we played a bit around, but we didn't seem to improve it much. We made a final step which improved the gain, so it cost you a bit, but you can't quantify it, to be honest. And as long as where we are, you're obviously not bothered.
Now, you did your bit to qualify on pole. Your teammate Eddie Irvine is down in 4th place. How much of a problem is that going to be for you tomorrow?
Not too much. I mean, it was obvious that we can be in the 1st and 2nd row together, and as long that's the case, as long he's in the distance, it's going to be okay. He had a bit of a problem with his car. I don't know why, but he couldn't achieve the same speed. So I guess for tomorrow, he's going to be looking much better, and then we will see. It's a long race, and we just have to bring it to the end, and whoever is going to be better is going to be winning this championship.
Thank you, Michael. Over to you, Mika. 2nd place. Are you surprised you aren't on pole?
I'm not sure. I'm not really surprised. I don't like the word anyway. I think it's a bit strange, you know. I think what we did during a session, we were able to improve the car all the way and to make it quicker, and we were able to get the balance better and better. So I was extremely happy about it. So to be 2nd, I don't. Let's not use the surprise. It is just a fact what is at the moment, and the difference is very small. And like Michael said, you know, tomorrow is the race. It's a long race, and and then we'll see.
On your final run, Mika, you had you seemed to be quite good on time, and then you had a little run off the circuit. What happened there?
Just went wide. I don't. I entered to do just the last corner for the 1st sector, and I just went wide or too much over the curb, and then on the cross. So I lost all the time there. It definitely was going pretty good until that. But again, I'm not too nervous about it. I'm a bit annoyed of myself making that mistake. But in terms of performance of the car was fantastic, and that was very important. I'm very happy about that. And I can fix myself, you know, to be 100%.
Mika, thank you. David Coulthard, 3rd place. Did you think you could ever go any higher, or did you do exactly what you had to do to be a good number 2 to Mika?
Thank you for such an introduction. Yeah. this weekend I've really struggled to get myself into the circuit, to get the car working with me, to give me the confidence. And you know, my goal was to try and, of course, qualify best I could. But in reality, I thought it was going to be third, and I wanted to try and make sure it was by as small a margin as possible. Now, in the end, it's by quite a long way. That's obviously disappointing. I think that if I was to drive cleanly the whole lap, then I can tidy that up a little bit. But nonetheless, I'm still quite a way away. But at least I'm there to watch what's happening on the front row going down to the first corner.
And looking forward to the race tomorrow, how can you help Mika? Because you are some distance faster than Eddie Irvine in the second Ferrari.
Yeah, I think that, you know, qualifying is one thing. It's another thing once you get into the race. But certainly track position here is very important. So in the race itself, we have to just wait and see what happens. You know, Michael hasn't made the best of starts all this year. I'm sure he's been practicing, but we've got to hope that we can get the jump on him at the start, and then maybe I can be of some assistance. But from third on the grid, then, as I say, you just have to try and run your race and try and get some points.
David, thank you very much. Gentlemen, if you could...
And that was Bruce Jones there asking the questions in that press conference there. Tony, I think it's fair to say that if he becomes a world champion tomorrow, Mika Hakkinen might just have a little bit of work to do on his PR. I mean, even now, he's not happy in those situations, like pulling teeth, isn't he?
Well, I think he needs prior notice of every question, probably give them in 2 hours early, and he could think about them. But he is quite slow and deliberate in that situation because he doesn't want to say the wrong thing, you know, and he really is very guarded about his whole approach to his racing. Communication is not his forte, as you say. His forte is in that racing car, and he's a lot different. He looks a lot nervous out the car, but when he's in it, he really performs.
And he performed straight off in this qualifying session, didn't he? He set the marker, 1:37.
Yeah, he did, and that's when he's cool. This is when he's at his best, in his racing car, his beloved craft. I mean, he started in '91 with Lotus in Phoenix, and here he is coming up to this great crescendo, you know, to the championship challenges. He said this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And when he came out early, we thought, oh, well, this is good, but he put in an absolutely fabulous lap to take that provisional pole.
OK, let's just break off from here a minute and have a little word with Martin Brundle, who has left the commentary position and is down there with the old Ferris wheel behind him. You hear us OK, Martin?
Yeah, I can hear you well, Jim.
Right, I mean, with a bit of time to think about it, I mean, have you made any thoughts and any feelings about the destination of the world title now?
Well, those two guys just raised their game out of sight, didn't they? I just thought it was absolutely amazing. They're over a second clear of the rest of the field on this challenging, you know, most challenging of racetracks. But I still think the position's the same. Mika can really only lose it at this point. He's got to finish second. Michael, even if he wins the race, can't take the championship if Mika finishes second. So Michael can't really win it. Mika can only lose it. And Mika seems in particularly good form. So unless there's some bizarre happening into the first corner or later in the race with back markers, I would think Mika will be a bit disappointed that, of course, Eddie Irvine is right behind him on the grid. If they get away well, it could be a squabble into that first corner. He'll be feeling a little bit uncomfortable about that.
Martin, but sorry to interrupt you there. You talk about sort of bizarre happenings. I know all the drivers are denying it, but you're totally convinced there'll be no dirty tricks in the Japanese Grand Prix?
I think there'll be some hard racing, there'll be some wheel-to-wheel stuff, but it's an important point. Michael Schumacher's been here twice before, up for the championship at the last round. Won one, lost one, but both times he had a points advantage where he could afford to be a bit gung-ho. This time he can't afford to be. It's Mika who's got the points advantage. No, I think we saw Eddie Irvine letting Mika past, not letting him pass, but not having any silly games in Nürburgring. And Irvine took a huge amount of flack in the Italian press for that. I don't think he'd be letting anybody through quite as easily this time round.
Yeah, but the way Michael Schumacher responded to that first lap from Mika Hakkinen was quite fantastic, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I just didn't think his car got that kind of pace in it, but he just went and drove the wheels off it, didn't he, and made the difference. Put the pressure back onto Hakkinen straight away, and Hakkinen couldn't quite respond. And it seemed as if Michael had got even more speed left when he aborted that last lap. But Michael, I believe you're now seeing him on that pole position lap. It was committed, neat, tidy, and there's a groove in this racetrack that you've got to get into. You've got to find the line, put your car in it, and just really attack. And a brave driver gets a payback around here.
Yeah, good. Martin, thank you very much indeed. Let's come back to you, Tony. I mean, how surprised are you that he even improved, that he even got down to 1:36.2 on this circuit, very close to Villeneuve's pole time of last year?
I'm not surprised, because we talked about the testing at the beginning and the 5-week gap, what's been going on. Well, the thing is, Ferrari have come up to the same level. They had a special qualifying engine. They've got this new V-shaped front wing. They've been working on the aerodynamics. You know, they say that Schumacher never sleeps, and he doesn't, and Ferrari have not slept. They've been testing and testing and testing all through that 5-week period. And all this was seen today in the qualifying session here at Suzuka. And I think with Goodyear as well, have done one heck of an amount of work on the tyres. All come together. There's Luca de Montezemolo looking on, and you're seeing, you know, a very, very fast car and driver combination indeed.
Come back to the two main protagonists. Have you seen any clues about how the two of them might react in the race from what we've seen today? Very different characters, aren't they?
Very different. I think it's going to be very different tomorrow in terms of how the tension affects the two, and I think the tension will affect Mika Hakkinen a little bit more, because it hasn't been in this position before. And we've seen that, you know, he did crack a little bit later on in the qualifying session. He couldn't quite come back at the Ferrari with what McLaren had, and James maybe pointed to it there, the critical difference being in the tyres. If Bridgestone have been a little bit conservative, that'll be good for the race. The race situation will be very, very different. But Hakkinen there, I believe when he gets into the cockpit, he'll be okay. But tomorrow you'll see him looking very, very worried and nervous and twitchy.
Sure. What about these two shotgun riders, Coulthard and Irvine?
I think that is the pivotal thing. That is the main thing. And I think that Irvine has got the best chance of doing anything here, because he knows this place so well, having raced here in Japan. He made his debut here in '93, got a point, and he got punched in the face by Ayrton Senna for unlapping himself around.
He did his best, Hakkinen, to get pole, didn't he? Pushed too hard.
But that was a very dangerous place to do it as well. He's coming out of the Degner curve, coming under the crossover there, and he just pushed that final degree, hit the curb, and off it went. And it shows his brilliant car control that he didn't spear off and go into the barriers. That's Hakkinen and his lightning reactions yet again, showing he's not asleep in there as he can be in the press conferences occasionally.
He can put a few of us to sleep as well. OK, let's have a word with Ferrari's Ross Brawn. Ross, of course, the technical director at Ferrari, and he's talking now to our man, James Allen.
Ross, that was pretty spectacular, and Michael seemed to have that little bit when he needed it.
Yeah, he's in very, very good form, and we've got the car working well. I just want to make sure we use it this time, but everything looks okay at the moment.
You must have been a little bit worried about Eddie. He seemed to, obviously there was the yellow flag, he had to back off, and just didn't seem to have the speed. But fourth on the grid, is that good enough? Can he do it from there?
Yes, yeah. I mean, second row is he can cause a fuss, which is what we need. He's got a habit of pulling out of the back during qualifying. He keeps us on the edge. He didn't run to the end. There was no point in wasting the tyres. I think he could have gone quicker. He didn't get a chance to run new tyres this morning, so it takes a little while to get into the groove. So, but non Chimali.
It keeps us on the edge as well. And just confirmation of the grid for the Japanese Grand Prix tomorrow. Schumacher, Hakkinen, Coulthard, Irvine, Frentzen, Villeneuve, then the Jordans, and Johnny Herbert, the other Brit, down in 11th. What are your thoughts, Tony?
I think it's a brilliant championship battle. Here we are, all four of them together on the first two rows of the grid, and it's still sort of 50-50, because I say the cars in race trim are going to be different again. It's all about tactics tonight. They're going to be burning the midnight oil, trying to outguess what the others are going to do. And McLaren put one over on Ferrari last time with the tactics, didn't they, and the strategy. You know, will Ferrari overreact and do something a bit too detailed? Who knows?
One word, Schumacher, or... It's not one word, really, is it? But give me one word answer. You know what I'm going to say, don't you? Quick.
At the moment, it's looking good for Ferrari and Schumacher.
Okay. Right, let me just tell you about our programming coming up from here. Repeat of the qualifying hour at 1:40 this Saturday, and I'm sure all you real enthusiasts and many more will be up early. Live coverage of the Japanese Grand Prix, 3:25 tomorrow morning. Nothing like the real thing live. A rerun at 2 in the afternoon, the highlights at 11:15 tomorrow night. It is absolutely beautifully poised here. Thank you very much indeed for your company. Get some kit. Get up early again tomorrow morning. Bye-bye for now.